My guest today is one of the most entertaining flyweight prospects on the regional scene, if not the entire flyweight division in the sport. He's no other than Max, the CandyMan Quinones, who fights on the CFFC 123 card in September 1st up in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. How's it going today, Max?
Blessed, brother, man. Just knocked out a morning session with coach and everything out on the beach. Blessed to be in Florida and blessed to be able to make it happen September 1st.
September 1st, this will be your fifth pro fight. You only
Correct.
went pro last July.
Yeah.
Not only are you one of the most entertaining, you're probably one of the most active as well. What has made you want to be so active? Was it like the car accident, or just you're healthy, so why not fight?
Both. Definitely both. Because with the car accident, we were going to make our pro debut 2 months after the accident happened. So it was August 31st, 2019, and we were trying to shoot the gun for like that October to go ahead and turn pro. So once the car accident happened, did the rehabilitation the whole bit, and then mentally just put myself in a place where I study the game on the business side to where that's going to elevate us in one aspect. And then the skill, just film studying, film after film after film after film to like that. That's just my hobby. It's not that it was like a task. It was something that I would generally enjoy, like truly enjoy just watching fights, seeing what different styles make things happen, and just seeing what things that are successful people already are doing versus people that aren't having the most success. Because you can come from the same camp, same everything, but if your headspace isn't there, then you'll see different tendencies from other people. And as far as being healthy, I mean, this is my second chance to really do this thing. So it's all gas and no brakes. I mean, I got a baby girl and a family to feed, to where we're just gonna keep making it happen. And as long as I'm healthy and God keeps me injury free, we're just gonna keep it rolling. And short notice fights are something that the UFC likes. They like quick turnarounds, like look at Kevin Holland. He's just out there fighting, whooping ass, having a good time doing it. And that's the same atmosphere I want to have too. Like I enjoy fighting. I enjoy whooping ass. And right now, like you said, we're just going to shoot the shit. But at the end of the day, when it's game day, it's focused and I'm ready to kill.
Yeah, and then I did say that we're gonna shoot the shit, but you on all your interviews, you seem to be the most calculated fighter, even at this point in your career. Like, I'm afraid to see where you are in 2 years, 3 years. Because right now, like I said, you're 4 fights in, all professional wins, 3 by finish. Like your first fight's the only one that went into the third round, yet alone 2 decision. Since then, it's 2 by knockout, 1 by submission, and you've already hit basically the early announcement that you were probably going to be a UFC Fight Pass fighter to watch in 2024. They probably could have just added you to the 2023 list because you've already fought more than once this year already. But since basically a year into your pro career, you've already signed with Iridium back in May. I was kind of touched on that before I hit record. What made you pick Iridium out of all the other options?
I mean, just the energy that Jason and his wife bring and the whole team as a whole. I was following up with them. Like I've had people come into the inbox ever since my pro debut, and I've turned them down just off the gate, off the gate, off the gate, off the gate. But there's a saying that I live by: it pays to know people, right? And I've had that expression ever since I was really, really young. And there's certain things to where he brings to the table. I know my skill set, my coach, we bring it to the table as well, to where it's just a coincide team. Everything just flows with effortless grace and ease. And picking them, just something like in my heart, my gut told me, hey, look, like this is the move. And there was always going to be what I call the trickster. The trickster is the negative side saying, oh, this could be wrong, this, and that. And one thing that me and my wife really talk about is, all right, let's make a Ben Franklin list, pros, cons, and literally there was no cons on the other side. It was just pro, 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 pro. So I was like, dude, we're just gonna pull the trigger on this, and it's been a smart move, and it's only going to propel us even further. But as far as what we got going on with CFFC, coach aligned this whole thing of my coach out of that for lined everything up, and then now having Jason with the connection, and then also putting a stamp on our finishes as well, because CFFC isn't just going to want people that lay on top like wet blankets or just play jiu-jitsu off their bag or not strike at all or not have anything. Like it's a whole village that is coming and coinciding, and that's just what's going to propel us to the top.
Awesome. And it's only been a couple months, but how, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, how has it been working with Jason and the entire team? I mean, I think I mentioned you as soon as they announced it that it was like a genius signing. What much deserved on both sides. I've never had any issue with any of the Iridium team, fighters, etc. How has it been in just the short couple months so far?
Nothing but amazing. Nothing but amazing. I could use better words, but amazing is just the first thing that comes to the mind. And anything I need, he's always quick. The whole team is quick as well. So it's just a really good culture that I think all the energy is just aligned perfectly.
And then with your team, you are at Def War. Who have you been training with lately? Obviously, Brandon Lewis. Anyone else in particular you've been training with?
Everyone on the team, we're on like all the same weight class. So Devin Flores, one of the amateurs, another amateur as well. This opponent that I'm facing is southpaw, so we've been doing a lot more southpaw work with RJS. Brandon just helping him finish off the little bit of his camp, and we just always get it in. Like we'll put in the overtime. When there's not a session, we come in, just him and I, and just work on certain things leading up to our fights. And as long as you have a couple down motherfuckers that are ready to roll, that's all you really need. And a coach that brings in that mindset and the knowledge, and is Coach Daniel, Coach Drew, Coach Devin, and those are the grappling side of things. So we just all really put everything together, and we don't bitch about it. We don't complain. There's no AC. There's mosquitoes all up in the room because it's a really small gym, but that's how we like it. That's that energy that we want to present, and that's what it's going to cultivate and mold champions.
Great. And then you kind of touched on it a little bit. Your next opponent is Israel Galvan. He has about 8 fights in his pro career. He has 8 canceled fights in his pro career. And going through a topology and even a lot on his side, it's not usually on his end. People usually bail out either the day before weigh-ins or leading into the fight. Anything stand out about him in particular, or was it just another name to knock off the list?
The fact that he has double the fights, we definitely wanted to say, hey, look, let's take it up a notch. Let's get someone with either definitely more fights than us, but the fact that he has double the fights makes it even more exciting. I like his style. I think he's going to be a great style for the fans to watch, and I plan on finishing his ass, honestly. But at the end of the day, we're just going to go out there, bang it out. Whoever comes out winner is going to be the winner, but I plan on touching him a lot.
And when that name came in, did you look at anything outside of the record? Or I know, like, even looking, I think you could see a couple of his like D2 fights, his one LFA fight, or did you look at the record and say this makes sense?
No, I mean, like, we just got the name, and that was really like the only name I really got out of the whole thing. I'm sure a bunch are thrown out, but this is the one that I was just sent over. Looked at typology, looked at whatever I needed to look at in the whole bit, and I was like, you know what, this is the one that works. So we picked it.
And you come out September 1st, you get the win. That gets you at 5-0. There's a CFFC flyweight title that was just handed out about a month ago against a former opponent of yours. He came short on that one, but the guy who won is probably, if I want to make predictions, probably never going to defend this title. Be it he's going to get called up somewhere, or he's going to go for a third fight past belt, maybe a Titan or Fury. Is the CFFC flyweight title something on your to-do list?
Yeah, I mean, if the stars align and we're able to fight for the title, that'd be cool. We'd be at home. If not, we'll fight wherever. But that's why I want to get out of Tampa. I want to fight somewhere else, get my feet wet somewhere else, build a bigger fan base out somewhere else, and then hopefully that energy just transfers to wherever the next steps are. So finish this fight, see where the next things are lined up, but definitely eyeing for a title. And I think Galvan is going to be the guy that's standing my weight on this one. We're just going to remove that roadblock.
And then hypothetically, if for some reason the next fight isn't for the title, Would you want to run something back like with Shamel at this level, or is that like a fight that maybe if you ran it back, that's in the UFC or at a better pay rate area?
However, the stars are aligned. I think either way, it will generate money. The bigger ticket would be UFC and the whole bit. So if Aries and Rob make it happen prior to us going to the UFC, cool. If not, then I know we're going to see each other in the future. It is inevitable. So I mean, it's bound to happen, whether it's in CFFC or in the UFC. I'm game. I'm just going for the ride.
I can kind of tell from your end about how calculated you are. You're not usually one that looks future. You know your next target is September 1st, CFFC 123, Israel Galvan. Do you want to get one more fight this year? I mean, kind of make that question, that lead in a little hypocritical, but do you want to get one more in this year?
Absolutely. If there's no injuries, yeah, definitely one more in. Definitely one more in. We want to close out the year 6-0.
Yeah, and at that point, like 6-0, kind of jinxed this when I said this to Shamel in our interview with him. 6-0, let's just say it goes out as expected. 5 finishes at 6-0. We shouldn't see you on the regionals next year at that point. That's a Bellator, a PFL, a UFC. It's a somewhere record at that point.
And that's what's crazy. Because like back then, I feel like you had to get like 10, 15 fights in order to get promoted up. Now it's just everything developing so much to where it's like if you're a standout at 5, 6 and up, and at the end of the day, if it does call it the 10 wins that we need to get in order to get, as long as we're ready, and the goal is not to get in the UFC, but to stay in there and to make our money and put our money into these investments, so that way it'll be generational wealth at that point.
I will say I know for a fact that like Rob Haydak does say on the CFFC side, when he gets his fighters prepped for that call up, it's not to just get there. I don't want to say anybody can get there because it takes work to get there, but it takes even more work to stay there. You don't want to go knock out 2 of your first 3 fights, lose them, and then you're back on the regional scene, basically playing the vet role in the regionals. Outside of that, September 1st, less than a month away. Is this your first trip to Pennsylvania?
No, I mean, my wife has some friends that she grew up with. We took a trip out there prior. I got family in New York and things like that, so I've been in New York every summer and stuff like that. So I'm used to the climate and everything down there. And I think people are going to be surprised by how many people show up on September 1st.
That's awesome because I know usually when it's up here, if you're not one of the Philly or New Jersey guys, you're just kind of I don't want to say just an add-on to the card. I think thankfully with your performance so far, people at least should know who you are leading into this card. But it's always great to have, that extra support in the stands. Outside of that, pass the mic to you. Sponsors, any shout outs on your end? Feel free to go ahead.
Shout out my beautiful wife, my daughter, my family, the whole village that contributes. Team Death War, you guys already know I'm going to put it on, and you guys have helped me lead up to this moment. Shout out to Angry Elephant, Gene, and Baz. They've always been there for me since day one, even as an amateur. Bartow 4 is another big one as well, and the largest Ford dealership, definitely in like the Southeast, in my opinion. But facts will speak on it as far as like numbers and things like that. Barbers R Us Plus for the dope ass haircut. D Barber, shot caller. He makes it happen every single time, and there's going to be even crazier designs that are coming into play. Extra Science is another place I do my physical therapy at, rehabilitation, things like that. Make sure I'm 100% come fight night. Omega Gamma Delta is a fraternity I'm actually a part of, and we give back to the community here locally in Florida. And then P&G is my boys' sponsorships out of Oklahoma. They have a dispensary out there, and they just be looking out ever since middle school and since I started this journey. And I appreciate your time, Zach.
Definitely appreciate your time. I'm not the one training. I literally woke up and thought I was late to our first meeting. But no, looking forward to September 1st. I'll be there. I'm sure CFFC sells this venue out every time they're there. Labor Day weekend might be a little harder, but if not, it's gonna be on Fight Pass.
Yep.
Outside of that, you do have some sick ass shirts on millions.co as well. I'll link that below. I don't know
Thank you, bro.
if you designed it or they designed it. I
They
know that
did. Hooked it up.
they've been killing it with a lot of designs. So,
Thank you guys for hooking that up.
but yeah, September 1st, UFC Fight Pass. If you're not in person, this is not a prelim card. You're obviously a main event at this point, or not main event yet, main card at this point. So tune in. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, boss.